Hello, my name is Charles Russell. This is the first in a series of videos on configuring Drupal 7, and these are being done for the Sacramento Professional Network, who's in the process of migrating their site from Drupal 6 to Drupal 7. Today, we're going to talk about the subject of adding fields to user accounts, but because we're going to be in account settings, I'll talk a little bit briefly about some of that area as well. We're doing this because we have to prepare the fields to hold the data that is going to be moving from our existing site. And in Drupal 7, they have deprecated profiles, which is what we used in Drupal 6 for this material. So now we're going to have to use user fields. So let's talk about how we're going to do this. So let's start with the beginning. We're going to go up here on the menu, this admin menu, and where it says configuration, I'm going to click that. You have to have administrative privileges to do this. And then account settings is the next section we need to go to. And some of this stuff is more important than others, but here's the ones I really want to talk about here. This is how we choose to handle our registration. We have let visitors register themselves. Before you're actually given access, administrative approval will be required. And when we cancel user account, we want to disable account but keep its contents. We're going to leave the defaults here for personalization. We will allow people to enter pictures. We could allow signatures, but we're going to leave things as the default now. Here's where you type any guidelines about the pictures you'd want to put in. Also down here you have these sections on emails. This here is where you can change what goes out to the user, say when the new user is created by administrator, or in the case of ours, they are just registered and they're waiting approval. So you can click there and you see the text is different. Now you can change this to anything you want to, but please note these things here. These are called tags. These allow you to put, in this case, the username and the site name would replace it. So it would be, say, in my case, it's charles.russell, and then the site name would be the Sacramento Professional Network. Okay? That's about all you really need to know about that, and you can see there's different actions that you can take that are already predefined that you can set emails for. So I'm going to save this just to show you what happens if you do change it. What happens is when you save it, it'll tell you, put a little green line up here to tell you that's been saved. So let's talk about what we're really here for, which is managing fields. So as you see, I've added a few fields already. But we're going to get in here, we're going to do something a little differently than just plain text fields. So this gives you a chance to see how this might be a little different. So the very first thing we want to do is how do we add a new field? Well, that's done right here. Okay. So when we add a new field, we just go in here and we type in whatever we want the label to be. This is what the user is going to see when they look at this field. So in this case, I want it to be applicant type. Now, a little word about what that is. When we have somebody coming new into the Sacramento Professional Network, we want to know what kind of services you're going to need. So are you going to be an employer? Are you going to be a candidate member? What are you going to be? So this is why we need to know this. Now in this section here, I just click, this is called field. Now, when I'm working in the users, I'm going to type in user. Why? Because first of all, I want to know where this data came from later on when I use it in something called views, which is a more advanced subject, but definitely something worth knowing. It helps a little save confusion. And the other reason is it helps make the name unique. This is the machine name, and these names have to be unique. These don't have to be, but this must be, because this is how Drupal is going to know where to find this information. So in this case, I'm going to type, it's the type of user, so I'm just going to put in type there. Now the next thing here is the field. You got a lot. This is not really so much field, it's the type of field. So in this case, it can be a Boolean, which is like yes, no, decimal number, a file, maybe an image, maybe a list of numbers of some sort. In this case, we're going to have a list of text. So I'm going to select that. And now next one is widget type. Now, these different things here will do different things. For instance, this can allow you to do a checkbox, or it can do a yes, no button, right? But here, we can choose checkboxes or select lists or radio buttons. So I'm going to click that. Now I've got the basic settings I want. But I'm still not done. When I push save, this is going to take me to a configuration field. So here's where we got our field settings. So a couple things I want you to note. The instructions on all of these fields, whenever you do these things, are all going to be more or less down here at the bottom. So this case is telling you this is the possible fields that this can contain. There's one value per line in the format key, which and label. The key is what's going to be stored. The label is what the user is going to see. If you don't put a label in, it's going to use the key, whatever you put in is key and label. So whatever you put in will be key and label. I don't want to do that because I want to store my storage to be smaller than what's on my display is. So in this case, I'm going to put in, so I abbreviate candidate, and then I put in the pipe. See, there's your little pipe there. And now I'm going to put in the label. In this case, it's going to be, that's what the user will see. Again, for employer, and finally for a returning member, right? And we've done it. So, but we're still not quite done. There's going to be a little bit more configuration we're going to do. First of all, do we want to display this in the registration form? Yes, we do. But we also want this to be required to be filled out. So if it's a required field, we need to click that. And notice when I click that, it automatically said that it's going to be a registration form. And you can see right here, it tells you that that's going to happen. Now we put a little help text. And that should be a pretty good help field. Now we can also set a default. In this case, most of our people are coming in as candidates, so I'm going to set that as the default label. And notice this one here. That's important because it will display checkboxes if the number is greater than 1 for this field. Otherwise, it'll be radio buttons. In this case, we want radio buttons, and we can also edit our list here as well. So now I'm done. I'm going to save the settings, and we've now completed a field. Now we can also change how this is going to display. Now the default settings are with the label above. Okay, and you can choose to whether these are going to be hidden or inline, which is next to it, if you want. You can also change the format of how things are going to show. Are you going to have a plain text, or you're going to trim off any spaces, or is this going to be a hidden field? For us, the default is fine. And you can also do some custom display made settings, but that's a little bit more advanced topic than I think I want to get into here. So with that said, I'm going to save this, and we're now done. Now, another thing I'd like to talk about in this Manage Fields area really quick before I leave is this thing here. You can, if you've done an existing field in another content type or in another context, you can use those fields. And right now, this is pretty new setting, so we only have these two things to add. I'm not going to mess with that today, but I just want to show you that that's there, and you can give it its own field if you want to. Remember, this is by machine name. Anyway, that's enough for today, I think. And if you are interested in the Sacramento Professional Network, you can join the Sacramento Professional Network. They offer services like resume reviews, interview practice. They will also do other things to help you hone your job hunting skills should you be unemployed. And they also will help you in reviewing other documents, for instance, cover letters. If you're an employer, our members are looking for work. and if you will, you could join to try to do it. If you're interested in just this project, the information on the migration project from Drupal 6 to Drupal 7 can be found at migration.sacpronet.com. I should also say that those who want to register should apply at sacpronet.com. That's enough for today, I think, and I'll see you the next time. Bye.